Are you ready to embark on a journey of exploration and unlock the magic of your wonder? There is so much more in the universe than we have been shown. It is time to ask those questions, dissolve those barriers, and embrace your extraordinary life. Here is your fellow explorer in the realm of curiosity and discovery, with almost 20 years of inviting people to embrace the greatness of them, Donnielle Carter.
Hello and welcome everybody. I am your host and fellow explorer Donnielle, and welcome to the exploration of wonder. One of my favorite times of the week is when I get to be here and explore this amazing universe with you. Who am I? I am a nationally board certified health and wellness coach. I am an intuitive empowerment coach. I am a laughter-inducing change agent, and usually a little bit on the sarcastic side, the kind of like laughter chick. But I have been playing in this realm for, like the open said, almost 20 years, which blows my mind. But it's so fun to see what else is out there, because when you're able to ask the question, the universe will reveal her secrets to you. And that's what the show is all about, is the exploration of what you wonder about. And to that, if you have anything, any topic, any theory, any weird stuff, like if you want to explore, is the moon hollow? I'm willing to explore that. Let's do that. And so please send me an email at hello@donnielle.com, which is DONNIELLE.com. So hello@.com. hello@donnielle.com. Let me know what you are curious about, what you're wondering about, and let's explore it together, shall we? All right. Today is one of my favorite topics. I know. Those of you in the bingo card, that should just be the center square. One of Donnielle's, what she's excited about, because it's one of her favorites. It's just in every one. But it is truly, I actually have a specialty series, a signature class called The Energy of Words. Sorry, I said specialty, not Siri, and my phone decided to light up, so I'm going to put that on Do Not Disturb. But I have a specialty class called The Energy of Words, and that is what we're exploring today. The show name of today is What is the Energy of a Word Used? All right, so what's interesting about this is, and you will, in almost every show you'll hear of mine, class, session, whatever it is, you'll see me go, what's the original energy of that? What's the energy of that word? And so I'm constantly looking up the original definitions of words, because I'm also about the energy. So every once in a while, somebody will say a word and I'm just like, that's sticky, or that has a weird energy to it. Usually that is the tilt of that. That has a weird energy. Let's look that up, shall we? And so why do I always bring that up? Why am I always like, okay, let's look up that word. What's the original definition of the word? What is that? Where does that word come from? Is what my signature series, The Energy of Words, is all about. Because words have an energy. And when you speak, you bring up that energy. Okay? So in today's show, we're going to explore a lot about that. And throughout the show, I have various words that I'm going to share with you, just as fun, for some of the original definitions that will shock you. Some will shock you. Some of them, when I learned them, I went, oh, that makes sense. And then some of them I was like, what? No wonder that never worked. So I'm going to pepper those throughout as we go to break, come back from break, and all that kind of fun stuff, right? But why do we care, right? Why do we care? Let me introduce this too. So you've heard me say that it's all about the energy. And when I first started exploring this realm of energy, and every class, every book, everything I ever read or heard was like, oh, the energy is everything. And I'm like, yeah, but what about my words? I love to write. I'm a wordsmith. Whether it's speeches or shows or books or stories, I'm like, let's weave something together with these words. And so when they were like, oh, it's energy, it's energy, it's energy, I'm like, but what about my words? Just a minute, let me mourn, see if I can give up my words. But here's the thing. Side note, as you are on this exploration yourself, if you ever find yourself resistant to something like that, and not necessarily from that pouty, loopy, I don't want to change energy, but from that energy of like, but I love the words and it makes me feel light and happy. Like, why should I have to give that up? Ask yourself, what do you know about that? Okay. Because if you're not in that loopy, pouty energy, then more often than not, there's something there that you know that is time to reveal, which is what happened with me in this energy of words. Because when they started talking about words having energy and everything, I was like, yes. And a lot of the people I used to work with were all like, well, you shouldn't need words. It should be all about the energy. And I'm like, okay, but we're in a verbal society. Have you noticed that? We're in a verbal society. So why not be succinct? Why not be congruent with the words you're speaking? Use them to your betterment instead of using words to your detriment. All right. Which is where my signature class of the energy of words came out. All right. Because we all speak energy. You guys have heard me talk about this. You know this. Universe speaks energy, bodies speak energy, animals speak energy, your body, I said that, bears repeating. You, the infinite being, speaks energy. The universe, everything speaks energy. All right. So energy is the original language. All right. So it is the language we all speak. It is the universal language and it is the original language. And then someday, somewhere, for some reason, we went, you know what would be fun is to have a verbal and a written language. Yay! And so what did we do with that? We created language. All right. Now don't brush by this section too quickly, because here's the thing that I really want you to comprehend and really see is when I say we were energy and then we created a written and verbal language, which came first? This is not a chicken and the egg thing, but really, which came first, the energy or the word? Look at that for a second. If language was the original energy and then we went verbal, which came first, the energy or the word? You guys are going, well, obviously it's the energy. Okay, but that is the important key. Because we didn't just make words willy-nilly. It's like, oh, fire. No, we looked at an energy. We looked at something that we think had some sort of mass, like fire and flames. We looked at this kind of stuff and went, that energy, we shall call fire. Okay? So in this way, we united the word with an energy. Okay? Get that. Yes, the energy came first, but when we put a word to it, we united the energy. What were we doing with written and verbal language? Some people like to think, oh, we're just slowing it down or we're causing misunderstanding. And, I'm still reading about the Tower of Babel, not from the religious aspect, but of like what happens when we don't speak the same language and all this kind of stuff. But energetically, we do all speak the same language. All right. So with this, whatever reason, language, the verbal and written part of it was created. We had the energy first. Then we went to a word. What was the purpose of the word? To identify the energy. Okay? The word is used to identify, bring up, and describe the energy. So in that way, when we're talking about the energy comes first, it's not a great divide after that. It's not a great separation, which is where a lot of people think that they should go. It's like, oh, if I'm using this word, excuse me, if I'm using this word, the energy doesn't matter. Oh yeah, it does. Because when you speak a word, think a word, write a word, it invokes an energy. All right? Because we have combined those energies with the word we've used the word to describe it, we've used the word to unite it, we bring up that energy, we invoke it, we make it rise in our universe, right? However you want to describe that, we use a word to get to an energy, to bring an energy into our lives, our universes, our creations. This is what we're doing with these words. When we use them, is we bring them into our universe. We bring those energies that those words are tied to into our universe. Okay? I know I've said that like the same thing 3 different times, but I'm hoping one of them gets through. I'll say it again. Excuse me. When we say a word, we are describing an energy. And when we use that word, we invite that energy into our universe, into our creations, into our very lives, into all sorts of communication. Okay? So when I ask you which came first, the words or the energy, it's a big question, because it really helps you start to get to that place where you're being more mindful, more cognitive of what words you're using. Because when I say words have an energy, it's not just like, oh yeah, words have an energy. Your words matter, or words can hurt, which are all true, but at the very base nature, words have an energy. And when you use those specific words or don't use those specific words, you are inviting an energy or excluding an energy, or you are weaving together with sentences and thoughts. You're weaving together. It's almost like a magic spell, right? Or an incantation. It's like, what if one of the original reasons for words of written and verbal language was so we could do spells or something? Who knows, right? Everybody loves a good spell. And you notice spellcrafters are very specific about the words they use, because whether they know it or not, they're like looking to make sure the words match the energy, even if they don't know they're saying that, right? Because it's like, have you ever noticed an impassioned speech? How it moves, how it motivates, how it makes people rise up and celebrate and make choices and go to things. That's why like Martin Luther King's speech has been played again and again and again and again, because he was very conscientious of the words he was using, the energy behind it, whether he knew that or not. I don't know, I wasn't there. But he lit the world afire with the words he was using. Why? Because he was congruent with the energy of the words he was using for his cause, to invite change, to invite less prejudice. And you know what? It changed the world. And this is why it's like, what is the energy of a word used? It's to change the world. It's more than just creating our lives. It is truly, we use a word, we invite in an energy, we project that energy. Not like I'm going to project a ball at you, but when we are congruent with that energy, we project it, people receive it. Which is why, if you've noticed, 2 people can say the exact same thing, but one believes it, one doesn't believe it. Completely different outcomes, okay? Now, you guys might have noticed I kind of took a right turn, because you're like, believe, what are you talking about? You were just saying that when you say a word, an energy comes up. Yes, and your point of view about it plays a role in that. That's why I said believe, okay? So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'm going to start sharing with you some of these original definitions of some of my favorite words, and we're going to explore the relationship between you believing the words you're using, and the energy you're invoking. All right? So Thank you for exploring with me so far. I can't wait to explore more with you. And if you ever want to get a hold of me, please drop me a line at hello@donnielle.com. If you want a session, there's classes, all of that kind of fun stuff on my website, donnielle.com. So stick around because, my friends, this is just the beginning. And you are watching the Exploration of Wonder on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
Ever feel like there's more to life than meets the eye? A sense of wonder just beyond your grasp? Are you ready to create a life that inspires you so much that each day you are excited to wake up and live it? Join Donnielle Carter, a nationally board-certified health and wellness coach, weekly as she explores the universe on the exploration of wonder. Explore everything from harnessing the power of your mindset to connecting with your intuition and harnessing the energetic forces around us. With a blend of humor, warmth, directness, and a dash of cheekiness, Donnielle shares easy-to-use, pragmatic, yet magical techniques you can implement immediately to infuse your life with wonder. Join us as we navigate the fascinating landscapes of the seen and unseen, and together create lives filled with joy, purpose, and boundless possibility.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Exploration of Wonder with your guide, Donnielle. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to hello@donnielle.com. Now back to the exploration.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Exploration of Wonder. I am Donnielle, your fellow explorer and the host. And today we're exploring the energy of a word. Okay. And I told you before the break that I'd start sharing with you some of the often misused words. Because when I say, at the beginning, I was talking about the energy came first and then the word. And so that we need to start becoming aware of what is the energy behind the words we're using, which is why I'm always talking about going back to the original definition. Because when we go back to the original definition, that is when we were like, hello, energy. Oh, hello, word. We're going to put you two together. And then that energy brings up that word brings up that energy. And we can, slang and quote unquote modern definitions, but it doesn't really change the original energy. It can vary it a little bit, and that's a whole big discussion for another time. But it's really, you want to go back to the original definitions, because when you use these words, that's the energy you're invoking. That's the energy you are bringing up. So, one of my favorite words to talk about is goal. Can you just feel the energy when I bring up the word goal? Goal, right? Like setting goals. Yay! I mean, it's a common joke now of like, how fast can you set a goal? And my producer's like, puke, right? Yeah. How often it's a joke. You set a goal and then people are gambling on like, I'll see how fast I fail at that. Or like the percentage of people who succeed at goals is a small percentage. You'll want to know why? The original definition of goal, I kid you not, the original definition of goal is to hinder or impede or put in jail. All of that energy is about stopping. It's all about, it's all about stopping, right? And we think it's like we're going to set a goal to go forward. Nope. You set a goal, the energy you come up is stopping. hindering, or it's like even trying to slow you down, drag you off, right? Hinder, impede, or put in jail. And I'm not even kidding about that jail one. When I first started on this exploration of the energy of words, I read a diary of a witch hunter who he would routinely talked about all the witches he put in goal. Yay. So that is why when we use the word goal, most of us go, ugh, ugh. Well, yeah, because it's not the energy that you're actually desiring to make changes in your life. You're actually setting yourself up for fail, which should be kind of exciting for some of you, because then we just use a different word like target or aim or desire. It changes the energy for what you are desiring to change. It changes the energy and actually helps you succeed, yay, instead of failing, okay? Another word that I love to talk about is family. You may be going, but family, that's just, mom, dad, kids, no, not really. How it's used in that way in a blood familial, like we use modernly, is actually fairly modern. It was like late 1800s when we started using meaning blood relations. The original definition of family, you're gonna love this one. The original definition of family is servants of a household. Yay! Yeah, you ever feel like you're a servant to your family? This is why. Okay, now don't get me wrong, I love my family, some more than others. Well, I love them all, but you like more, you engage with easier, some more than others. So I like my family. It's not about family bad. It's just about looking at the energy. It's like, oh, every time I've used the word family, I'm bringing up this energy of servants of a household. WTF. Exactly. Okay. So some of these, it's not like, oh, you can never use the word family again. It's just be aware of this energy so that you're not the effect of it. Okay. And this brings us to the place where we're talking about what does our point of view, our judgment have to do with these energies of these words? Because I'm not going to sit there and tell you to walk up to your siblings or your mom and dad or kids and go, you are no longer my family because we are not servants of each other. You're just going to get a lot of confused looks. You're going to get a lot of people going, are you disowning me? What? Or the little kids going, what do you mean you're not my family? It's not for that. What you want to do is then, because when we use these words unknowingly, uncognitively, without the awareness of the energy, we become the effect of it. So let me say that again. When we use words without an awareness of the energy, we become the effect of it. And when it's a negative effect, we sit there and go, why can nothing seem to ever change? Why am I always confused? Why am I always creating the opposite? Which is how this, also the specialty class of mine, the signature class, also came up. It's because I would work with, like I said, at this point, thousands of people with their bodies. And they would ask their body for one thing, and they would get the opposite. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are they asking their body for one thing but getting the opposite? Okay. And so this is where we come in to affect these energies of words. All right. So at the top level, at one point, here's the thing. The universe, we as an infinite being, but in our bodies, animals, plants, all of that speak energetically. You guys you're like, I know, you've repeated that so many times today, and I'll never be done. Okay. But this is an important distinction. The universe speaks energy only. I would love to have an actual verbal conversation with the universe. Haven't seen it yet. I've seen the universe use people to have a verbal conversation as they're like intermediate. And I'm not just talking about channeling. Like, I asked a question of the universe on Saturday night, and on Sunday, my nephew-in-law showed up with a gift for me, right? It's like the universe was totally using him to have a conversation with me. And it was lovely. So, but in the meantime, the universe only speaks energy. Your body only speaks energy. And if you want more on that, please check out my show I did on Your Body Speaks to You, Your Body Communicates to You, or something like that. It was fairly recently. I go into that a lot. So the universe speaks energy only, the body speaks energy only, animals and plants. I know people like some dogs and cats know their names and stuff like that. Absolutely. But have you noticed they've even done experiments with it where you could say horrible things to a dog, but energetically be like, oh, you was so sweet, you know, and the dog's like, okay, hi, because it's listening to the energy. Whereas they also did the same thing with the dogs of where they would say horrible things, but lovingly, like, oh my God, you're such a piece of junk, or, you know, whatever, I cleaned it up. And the dogs would be like, ugh, because the energy was there, the energy of they were going to get attacked. And so animals, plants, universe, and your body speaks energy. Okay. So what do you speak? Well, you speak both, right? You're listening to me with words, you communicate to other people with words, and you also do this energy. So one of the things I really want to invite you to start looking at is you're kind of always having two conversations unless you're completely congruent, which then you're still having two conversations, but you're congruent. Okay, so you'll say things like body. One of the ones that comes up in my classes all the time is body, what would it take to lose this weight? You say it verbally, and then energetically, you're like, body, please don't lose weight because I created it for a safety net. I created it to repel people who would be attracted to me. I created it to make myself slower or to make a point or whatever it is, right? But energetically, we're asking for this of the opposite of what we're saying verbally. And so with that, universe, bodies, all that kind of stuff, what do they listen to? The energy. So you're saying verbally, body, what would it take to lose weight? Energetically, you're like, please don't lose weight. Please, please, please don't. I really like it still. Or whatever it is, whatever reason. And not that I'm saying anybody has to lose weight. I'm not saying that at all, but it's just in my sessions that comes up a lot. And so when you're saying one thing verbally and then the other thing energetically, the universe in your body who listens energetically will give you what you're asking for energetically. Because if you ever asked for something and then got the opposite, this is why. I am telling you 100% of the times I have ever worked with anybody who they've come to me like in a private session or a class and they go, I've been working at this forever and nothing ever seems to change, whether it's finances or business or body or relationship, anything. They're like, I've been working on it forever. Nothing seems to change. Please help me. We start looking at this, what they're saying verbally and what they're saying energetically. And the track record speaks for itself. Almost 100% of the time, we start getting into it and I'm like, okay, so truth, do you actually, what you're asking for verbally, truth, do you actually desire to change? And they'll be like, no. Wow. And I'm like, well, then celebrate the potency that you haven't actually changed and that you have communion with your body and the universe because they listen to what you're asking for energetically, and that's exactly what you got. But the good news is that 99% of the time they turn around and go, oh, that's why it hasn't been changing. Okay, now I actually do desire it. So it's a unique little trick, but it's kind of fun. But we have to get to the point where we are congruent with the energy of verbally with the energy that we're asking and giving to the universe, okay? That's a big concept, and again, it can be a little confusing, but really just look at it. It's like something in your life, body, relationship, business, whatever it is, that hasn't been changing. Are you asking for something differently? Because here's the thing, we're massive creators. Massive creators. Sometimes insane, but massive creators. And so when we ask for something verbally, but then we've created it, whatever quote unquote the problem is, for a specific outcome, even if it doesn't make logical sense, if we feel we have not reached or achieved that outcome yet, we won't allow it to change, right? I've worked with people with money, and they're like, I just can't seem to change my finances. I even get money in and it goes out. I never seem to have money. What's going on? And blah, 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 blah. And this one really interesting one is when I worked with him, we finally got to the point. It's like he was energetically desiring to have his family take care of him. So as long as he was poor, quote unquote poor, they took care of him. And so he wasn't, even though verbally he was asking for his finances to change, they never changed because he didn't feel like his family would contribute and take care of him if he had money. So we did some clearing on that, changing that up. And so then when he asked, hey, what would it take to change my finances? Or he was like, okay, universe, let's do this. His money completely 180'd, changed it. He started having money come in, savings, and he still got to play with his family. But are you guys beginning to see where it's like you can say things verbally means something completely opposite energetically? And when we're asking of the universe or our bodies, like things that only listen energetically, the energetic is what you're going to get. Okay? Which is why I'm always like, it's so important to go into these original definitions, because it's like, not only is it important for you to be congruent with what you're asking for, you also need to be using the words to create what you're asking for. And that's where the original definitions come in. So we're going to get back to that when we come back from our next break, because it's like, okay, cool. We're starting to see where we need to be congruent with what we're asking for, but then what words do I use? How do I not screw up being congruent? I'm glad you asked. When we come back, we're going to go into that a little bit more of like how to actually start to implement having this awareness of the energy of the words that we're using. All right. So if you ever want to reach out to me, do at hello@donnielle.com, or you can go to donnielle.com. And I have a lot of stuff there. As a matter of fact, I even have a free at the front page on the bottom, otherwise known as the homepage. It's a 5 words to change your relationship with your body. I think that's still on there, so you can go check it out, donnielle.com. All right, but you are watching or listening to the Exploration of Wonder with me, your fellow explorer, Donnielle. We are on the Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back. Thanks.
Ever feel like there's more to life than meets the eye? A sense of wonder just beyond your grasp? Are you ready to create a life that inspires you so much that each day you are excited to wake up and live it? Join Donnielle Carter, a nationally board-certified health and wellness coach, weekly as she explores the universe on the exploration of wonder. Explore everything from harnessing the power of your mindset to connecting with your intuition and harnessing the energetic forces around us. With a blend of humor, warmth, directness, and a dash of cheekiness, Donnielle shares easy-to-use, pragmatic, yet magical techniques you can implement immediately to infuse your life with wonder. Join us as we navigate the fascinating landscapes of the seen and unseen, and together create lives filled with joy, purpose, and boundless possibility.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is the Exploration of Wonder with your guide, Donnielle. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to hello@donnielle.com. Now back to the exploration.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Exploration of Wonder. And as my lovely, amazing producer reminded me, I actually have a product on my page right now that delves exactly into this. It is called Everyday Spellcasting. And what was the tagline of it? It was create a magical life with the words that you speak. So it's a quick little 90 minutes, I think. It's available for immediate download. So check it out. We really get into this, and it's a lot of fun. You can find it at you can find it at Donnielle.com in the shop page. All right. And just a reminder, if you ever want to have a session with me, I love working one-on-one. I love groups. I love working one-on-one. I actually love facilitating. I love inviting people to that change, to that moment where they go, yes, okay, I get it now. And then they make changes. So I love it. So please, please do check that out if any of it sounds interesting to you. Donnielle.com. All right. So here's a couple of more words of quick little definitions to help you go, what? That's what that means? To get you kind of tickled into this exploration of the original definitions of words. All right, so we talked about goal and family. Here's another one that I looked up in 2020, because I don't know about the rest of you, but in 2020, during the global COVID pandemic, one word that was being used a lot was apocalypse. Oh my gosh, is this the apocalypse, right? And I have to admit, I love apocalyptic movies. I love dystopian movies, like give me zombie movies, give me the bomb went off and we're surviving afterwards, we've ruined all the water. I don't know what it is. I love the dystopian apocalyptic movies. I get it. I don't know. Hello, weird. Anyway, so when everybody was talking about during the pandemic, it's like, oh my gosh, this is the apocalypse. I started looking at this word, and here's a little thing. If some word sticks you want to look up at the original definition, because it's the energy going, hello, there's something here for you. Okay. And so I looked up the word for apocalypse. As I talked about, people think it's the end of the world, that, a bomb's going to go off or whatever. But the original definition of apocalypse is to reveal. Isn't that interesting? The original definition of apocalypse is to reveal. It's not the end of the world. It's to reveal. Now, I can see how they did like the train to it of like, oh my gosh, they found out it's the end of the world, or oh my gosh, that was discovered, it's the end of the world. Yeah, I get how they went to the end of the world, but the original definition of apocalypse is to reveal, which may be why I love apocalypse movies, because I'm like, oh cool, what are we revealing? All right, so that's a fun one. And here's one for all my religious people out there. The word amen. Amen, right? We say it at prayers, we say it in church, amen. You know what the original definition of amen is? Truth. So whenever you go like amen, you're just going truth, truth. It's like, oh, okay. Because I used to, I was raised in a very religious community, and I kind of got, not stuck, but I would say amen a lot. Because people would be like, oh, da, da, da. I'm like, amen to that, brother. Or just like, they would say like, oh, that's amazing. But I'm like, amen. And they would harass me because they're like, oh, you being religious? I'm like, no. But now I know why, because I was just like going, truth. Yes, that is awesome, right? So it's like some of these words you use because, oh, you're religious, when it's actually just matching the energy of you completely agreeing, going, that is the truth, amen, right? So when you start getting into this, it's kind of a lot of fun. Or maybe I'm just a big nerd, which we know. All right, so we've talked about looking at the original definitions. We've talked about being congruent with what you're asking for verbally or saying verbally, as well as energetically. Okay. Well, how do you be congruent? You're like, okay, Donnielle, you've presented this to me. Now what do I do? How do I not screw it up? It's to make the demand of yourself to be energetically aware of the words you're using. Okay. So look at your targets, look at your goals, targets, look at your targets, your aims, your desires, anything you're desiring to change in your life. And if you're sitting there going, it never changes, first of all, be very, truthfully vulnerable with yourself. True vulnerability is not bullying. True vulnerability is just really looking at what it is and not judging it. All right. And so when you have true vulnerability with yourself, you could be like, oh crap, I don't desire that, or I do desire that. How do I need to change the words? What's going on here? And so I don't know about you, but when I was a kid and we would make spaghetti, I was taught to know how the spaghetti was done. I mean, You could have just been like, pick it up and see if it squishes, if it was al dente or whatnot, right? Well, where's the fun in that? I was taught to throw it against the wall. And if it stuck, I think if it was stuck, it was done. And if it didn't stick, it wasn't done. And so why I bring this up is not just some random Donnielle childhood story. It's because sometimes when we are like looking at the energy of the words and sentences that we're using, when you are congruent, when you are demanding to be aware of it, demanding to be very present with this communication, you'll start to speak and go, well, that energy is kind of off. That energy is kind of funny. You won't necessarily know why, but you'll be like, that's, I'm like, that kind of sticky, or that kind of smells. I use the senses like that just for fun. And so what I suggest you do is you start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. What I mean by that is you're like, okay, well, I would like to, what was it like? Whenever I ask a client a question, I'll be like, okay, so you don't want to change this, right? So truth, is it because you like being taken care of? Truth, because you don't think you deserve it? Truth, because you don't desire the change? Truth, because you want to keep the money the way it is? So what we're doing with that is we're just kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing which sticks. And you can use that with individual words as well. And then when I'm doing that with a client, people will be like, oh my gosh, that. And I'm like, okay, there you go, because it matches the energy that they have in their universe. And so sometimes it's just throwing that spaghetti at the wall. It's like, I desire, I don't desire, I do desire, I claim, I own, I demand, I want that, please, have, right? You're like, okay, I have this. Because some people are like, I demand this. And it's like, no, demand, I create, I'm choosing to have this, right? Kind of that's throwing the spaghetti to the wall to seeing which word matches the energy of what you're desiring to create, because we're all energetically aware. You are energetically aware. You are energetically aware. You are energetically aware. I figure if I say it enough times, you guys will be like, okay, fine, I'm energetically aware. Everybody's energetically aware more than they actually want to give themselves credit for. Okay. And so you can kind of do that. It's like, which one feels right to you? How do you know it feels right? I use my body a lot of the time, because if I'm using the wrong word, I feel tense. Like if you're working with me, you can actually see sometimes I'm like, even like, how about this? It's like this, and my shoulders hunch. And then when I get to the right word, I'm like, oh, and I kind of relax, right? My body, whole universe relaxes. And so you can use it that way. Some people do like, when they get to the right word, the energy expands, they feel like they can breathe, they tingle. Sometimes that my body does it, which is actually kind of fun, that I can't actually say the word if the word doesn't match. That's an interesting thing, especially when you're doing, when you talk for a living. You're like, oh, I'm trying to say this word, but apparently it doesn't match the energy, so I can't actually say it. Okay. So it's a fun thing, but begin to explore this. So it's just, the first step is just really to make that demand to be present with the energy, and then really be cognitively aware of the words you're starting to use. Okay. And not every single word is going to be inaccurate, but it's getting that, instead of throwing it out and the verbal and written out, just like, word, be like, okay, words. How can I use these words to my advantage? Like that spell casting, like that weaving, because every time we use a word, like I said, an energy comes up. And then when we combine it with other words, we're weaving together this tapestry of creation. And we send that ripple and frequency out into the universe. And then the universe goes, I am very clearly understanding in what you want to receive. Here you go. Okay, so like anybody else going, okay, universe, I am happy to have $1 million in my universe, in my bank account. And what's interesting, as I say that, I'm not actually congruent with it. And so I start looking at it. I'm like, what part of that? I'm like, $1 million works. That's congruent. And I'm like, oh, in my bank account. No, that's the part that's not congruent, because it's like, if I had $1 million, like in one lump sum, I would have it in different places, right? I would have it in like investments and that kind of stuff. So it was interesting. So a lot of people think like, well, you're not congruent with wanting $1 million or being comfortable having $1 million. And I'm like, no, that part was congruent because the energy matched the words. It was where it would be, which is actually kind of a fun one to really look at. And so just kind of look at that, go through sentences and see what actually matches your true desire. All right, so we're going to go for our last break. When we come back, I have a few more words of a fun way to match the energy to the words you're speaking. And I'll also give you some quick resources because I can hear some of your heads going, this is great, Donnielle, but where are you finding this information? I will tell you when we come back. All right, so this is the Exploration of Wonder on Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
Ever feel like there's more to life than meets the eye? A sense of wonder just beyond your grasp? Are you ready to create a life that inspires you so much that each day you are excited to wake up and live it? Join Donnielle Carter, a nationally board-certified health and wellness coach, weekly as she explores the universe on the exploration of wonder. Explore everything from harnessing the power of your mindset to connecting with your intuition and harnessing the energetic forces around us. With a blend of humor, warmth, directness, and a dash of cheekiness, Donnielle shares easy-to-use, pragmatic, yet magical techniques you can implement immediately to infuse your life with wonder. Join us as we navigate the fascinating landscapes of the seen and unseen, and together create lives filled with joy, purpose, and boundless possibility. This is the Exploration of Wonder with your guide, Donnielle. To participate in this program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to hello@donnielle.com. Now back to the exploration.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Exploration of Wonder. And today we're exploring the wonder of the words we use, the energy behind it, how we can actually use words while we are a verbal society. Because if you notice, you're listening to this as I speak. So we are a verbal society. So why not use the words to our advantage? I'm a big fan of that, which is why I have a signature class called The Energy of Words, which reminded me during the break. I also have, besides everyday spellcasting, which is a one call that's really quick, I also have a more involved series called Crafting Affirmations That Work. Because I didn't even get into the affirmations, but really quickly, this energy of words thing is why affirmations don't actually work. Because you are not being congruent. Because if you have to repeat to yourself, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wise, what are you actually believing? You're sick, you're poor, and you're stupid. So energetically, you're projecting, I'm sick, I'm poor, I'm stupid. But verbally, you're saying healthy, wealthy, I'm wise. So this is why affirmations don't actually work most of the time, is because you don't believe what you are trying to say verbally. And unfortunately, because the universe listens energetically, you're just reinforcing the sick, poor, and stupid. Yay! So I actually, like I said, so I did a class, Crafting Affirmations That Work, and it's also on my website, donnielle.com. So check that out. All right. So a few more words really quickly here is try. Isn't that a fun one? Have you ever, people like, somebody will say, so, well, I'll try. Do you want to come to the party? I'll try. And you're like, you're not going to come, right? I like to call try the pretense of action. And the original definition of try is to separate from another or others. So, but look at that. Look at the energy of that. Every time it's like, I'm going to try to lose weight. I'm going to try to save money. You already know you're not going to. You already know you're just doing what they call lip service. Okay. And this is why, to separate from others, from another or others. And then really quickly, it's like, I use this energy of words in everything I do. So when, I have an old show on this network called Right Body for You, but this new show of the Exploration of Wonder, I was very specific about the words I was choosing. Okay, so the original definition of exploration is active exploring, examination, or investigation, especially for the purpose of discovery. I'm like, yes, we are discovering, we are examining, we're investigating. Exploration is exactly what I desire. And then wonder, strange or marvelous thing, object of astonishment. Okay, And so I was very specific in this. I'm using this as an example of like how you can actually use these words to create and enhance your life. Is when I was creating a podcast title, the exploration of wonder, because it was matching the energy of like, I want to investigate, I want to examine, I want to discover all the things we're curious about, wondering about, the strange and the marvelous, object of astonishment. That is exactly what I want. This is the exploration of wonder. And that's how I came up with the title of this, is the exploration of wonder. I do that with all my classes, everything, even my private sessions. I have a thing called 90 Days to Actualized. And I intentionally put actualized in a past tense so that they can know, hey, you know what, at the end of this 90 days of these private sessions, you're going to have this done. Not 90 days and maybe actualized. No, actualized. It'll be done. So I'm very intentional with the words I use when I create products and classes and sessions and everything, okay? And I've created a fantastic life when I'm looking at this, when you're not fighting the words, but using the words. Because if you guys hear nothing else but any in this whole show is to really look at, are you stopping yourself with the words you're using, or are you creating with the words that you are using? I mean, I guess you could create junk and crap and stopping, yes, but are you creating the forward momentum? Are you actually in that creation, that exploration, that getting your life bigger and happier? And are you doing that with the words you're using, or are you stopping your life with the words you're using? Okay. So I get this is something. It was funny. I was at a family party last night, and I was actually having a conversation with this about somebody, and they're like, "Thank you for telling me that every word I use creates something, because now I have to be aware of every word I use." I'm like, I get that, but isn't that exciting too? Because how many of us think we don't have the tools required to make the changes, when it could be as simple as changing one word? It could be as simple as changing the way you're saying something. Okay. And one of my favorites, an example of this is, I will talk about, you have to be able to laugh with yourself. Well, if you change one word, laugh at yourself versus laugh with yourself. When you say laugh at yourself, you're creating separation and judgment and finger pointing. But when you say I'm laughing with myself, there's less judgment. You're like, oh, look at me, I'm so funny. I'm laughing with myself, look at that, so fun. I do that sometimes, okay, it's okay. Look at the difference of just that change with that one word. I'm laughing with myself or laughing at myself. Big change. So this is so exciting for me. It's like you can use one word, change all the energy. That's amazing to me. Because I'll say it again, we're in a verbal society. Use the words to your advantage. Weave those energies together. Create that magic. Create the life that you're desiring with this. It is truly up to you. You have the tools. Just be honest, be vulnerable, and really look at, if you've been looking at changing something and it hasn't, do you actually desire what you ask for? And that's a huge topic. Maybe I'll do a show on that sometime, of really looking at like, hey, do I actually desire what I'm asking for? And why wouldn't I? We all have our reasons and justifications. But please do start looking at this. And you can go to simple places. I go to Etymology Online. Etymology is the study of words. I can't spell it for you. But look up Etymology Online, and it gives you the original definitions. You can also look at just honestly dictionary.com, and on the bottom it has word origin. So these things are very accessible. I have apps on my phone for it too. How you can get to the original definitions is so everywhere, so much. So please do check it out. If you're ever like, that word's kind of interesting, look it up. You'll be surprised at what you are energies you're inviting into your life with the words that you're using. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this. And again, if you have any topics that you would love for us to explore, send them to hello@donnielle.com. I look forward to hearing what you'll have to say, and be back next week. I will be. Make it a fun, magical week, and have a great one. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Thank you for exploring with us today. Donnielle returns Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Mountain, 1 p.m. Pacific. Until then, be curious, be wonder, and explore the magical universe around you.